Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster and welcome back to Nemesis. Of course, the 1994 B&M invert. Of course, recreating it in Planet Coaster. Today, we are moving on to the station. I know a lot of people have been asking about this for quite a while, but just been saying, not at that part of the recreation yet, but we finally are at that part of the recreation, sorry. It took me a while to figure out what piece to use for the station. In the end, I went with the temple piece. A lot of you might be saying, but surely the Arctic rock pieces or something like that would be the best pieces to use, rocks. And yes, I know what you're getting at, but unfortunately, the rocks would clip through the garden shed, basically, of Nemesis. Because Nemesis' station it's a garden shed for the inner shell, and then the outer shell is like the facade, the monster itself. That's what Nemesis' station is. So in the time lapse, we're going to start off with building the shed, a tiny bit of the interior, which is just like the platform numbers, the row numbers, whatever, hang from the ceiling, and then we're going to move on to the outside parts. I've only done this small little part. I only did this just to see, or just to get an idea of how the rest of it's going to look like, because I don't want to build all of it, zoom out, and then realise, oh, hang on, this doesn't look that good. I want to make sure that the temple pieces from the adventure pack are the best piece to use for this station. I'm not too keen on the way the eye turned out. I feel like I might change the eye a little. But yeah, let's get on with the time-lapse for this evening's episode of Nemesis. Well then, here we are in the time-lapse, and we of course are starting with the garden shed sort of thing. So the thing right now, I'm just paused, probably just getting some sort of reference image on my other monitor, trying out these pieces to start off with, these big wooden column pieces. And I think eventually these were just way too big to actually simulate the garden shed looks of Nemesis' station, and so I'll go with these pieces instead. They're a bit smaller, they're a bit thinner, maybe they might work, who knows, and they didn't work at all. So then go for these toolkit item pieces, which isn't something I generally like to do. I only like to do toolkit pieces when it's just a tiny little detail sort of thing. I don't really like to use toolkit pieces like this in a full-on building. It's just not the way I do things. And so, but these pieces they were generally the best pieces to use. To be honest, they simulated the garden shed looks very, very well in Planet Coaster, so we went with these pieces. Of course, they're just turning on the other type of advanced move tool, just so I can get the y-axis to be parallel, not the y-axis, the x-axis to be parallel with the wall, whatever. And yeah, and a lot of people don't understand this. I've had a look at a few other Nemesis recreations that are on the workshop, and they're all just the monster, the alien, the Nemesis creature, whatever you want to call it, and none of them actually have the garden shed that's on the inside. And I don't think a lot of people actually realise it's there, to be honest, because when you're in the station, it's too dark to actually see it. But on the outside, of course, you don't see it at all. It's not like Icon Station, where it's just a facade and then you can see the roof of it. This is like it's completely covered over with the facade of the Nemesis creature, and so you don't necessarily know it's there. And so it's an important detail I feel like should have been included in the recreation. Now I know with the real station, the queue line enters the station and goes down a ramp and then into the air gates. Unfortunately, Planet Coaster being Planet Coaster, you can't do that. So I have had to leave that part of the station out. However, it's not really that much of a big deal. If I'm going to be honest, it's a very minute detail that doesn't really need to be included in recreation. I wish I could include it, but the limitations of Planet Coaster is just horrible. And you just can't do that, which is unfortunate, to be honest. If I could, I definitely would do it, but yeah, you can't do it. Right now, I was doing the roof here, and one thing I recommend when you're doing a roof in Planet Coaster with non-gridded pieces, build one slanted piece a bit longer than it needs to be, and then, you know, duplicate that slanted piece over to the other side so you can see the exact point they intersect. So that would be the exact middle. Because I feel like if you try to guess where the middle is, where they should intersect, it looks a bit wonky, and most of the time it doesn't look right. And so yeah, you can see here, that's where they intersect, that middle bit right there, just turning off that advanced move sort of thing. And yeah, there you go. Push it back down, and it's perfectly centered. And that's a good thing to do. If you don't know to do that, do it, because it makes sure you get the perfect center each time you do that. This was a very annoying bit to do. Basically, I think I might actually skip this. So then that bit's done, and we're now moving on into the interior. Well, some of the interior. I didn't do the entire interior of this episode. I will be doing that next episode. But now well, basically what I'm doing here is the numbers that are above like each air gate, and it basically tells you which row you're going to be in. And didn't really know how to do this. I'm going to be completely honest here. I had no clue how I was going to do the numbers, because unfortunately there's nothing on the Filmmakers Toolkit workshop, and you know, you can't really do it with a sign. I tried to do it with the sign there, as you probably saw, but it just wasn't possible. I tried using Fogg's font, see if that had any numbers in it, but it didn't. And you know, used the candle pieces. The candle pieces didn't really work out very well. They were too big. Who would have known the candle pieces eventually being too big to use? Normally that's the go-to piece for a tiny piece, but no, they were too big. And so eventually I ended up using these small little hinges, or brackets, whatever you call them, that you're supposed to use to mount a TV onto a wall. But I'm using it for this because I generally feel like this is the best piece to use, to be completely honest. You can't recolor them though. I would have preferred to have them fully black, because that's how it is in real life. However, I'm having to stick with this silver or greyish sort of thing, because you can't colour them, which is really unfortunate. There are a lot of pieces in the game that you can't colour, and I wish you could, because it would make so much of a difference, and it would help a lot. Because there's always one piece that is the perfect piece to use, but you can't colour it the way you want, and it's so annoying when that happens. So yeah, so just lining it all up here, doing all the numbers really, and I'm kind of just doing it in a way of like a digital clock, where it has, you know, the full 8 is all of the bars. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7, yeah, there's 7 bars on one digit of a digital clock, and so I'm just doing it like that, where it's just duplicate the 8 over and then delete all the unnecessary ones. And yeah, it actually turned out quite well in the end. You'll see the end result in just a minute, and I honestly think it turned out quite well. I'm quite happy with it. If someone is, however, willing to do this as a Filmmakers Toolkit item, and you can 3D model, just DM me on Discord or Twitter or on Steam. Actually, no, you need to be on my friends list to message me on Steam. But yeah, just it would help. This does obviously work, but you know, if you do want to get some help with a Filmmakers Toolkit piece, just message me. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not encouraging people to do that. If you want to do it, yeah, fine. But yeah, so just literally just putting them all over now. There you go, all 8 of them. And then he said 3. There's not 3 rows of Nemesis, all 8 rows of Nemesis. And I'm actually going to talk about something I don't like that Alton Towers are doing right now. The 8th row, the back row of Nemesis, is reserved for disabled and fast pass queue, which is annoying, because everyone knows the back row Nemesis is the best row. And when you can't ride the best row, and you have to pay, how much is fast track? Like 80 quid? I think, I don't know. When you have to pay that much just to get back row, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, anyway, enough talk about that. Time to do the lights. Now, I thought that the lights in Nemesis Station, there was an exact piece of it in Planet Coaster, but I thought wrong. So I'm just using the art shape here. easiest piece to use, to be honest. I know I've said I don't like the art pieces in the past, purely because they're just shiny, they're plain, they don't really have any texture to them, but this is the best piece to use right now. And yeah, there's no hollow ones though. It would be amazing if there was like a hollow one, because then I really could do the actual light itself. And yeah, just using the candle pieces here again, because smallest piece, probably the best to use. Well, as you saw a couple minutes ago, always, I'm losing my train of thought here. As you saw a couple minutes ago, not always the best piece to use. But yeah, best piece to use for this light here, which like dangles from the ceiling in between the numbers. I don't know. I think a couple seasons ago they didn't really have them turned on. They had floodlights in the station instead. I don't know, because I could have sworn the lights in Nemesis station used to be red, and now they're these big white floodlights, which kind of ruins it. I would prefer red ones, but yeah. So just here, just putting them in between the numbers. Yeah, they don't look perfect, but it'll do. To be honest, you're not really gonna give a proper judgment on those lights now, are you? Those lights will do. Now just putting some cables here, just because why not? Just might as well put some cables here. I think that's the first time I've used those cable pieces in a very long time, to be honest. I think the last time I used those cable pieces must have been Hanley Park, 'cause I don't remember putting them in Saw, I don't remember putting them in Stealth. Actually no, I did put them in Stealth, didn't I, for the maintenance shed? Yeah, anyway, now probably the part that most of you are here for, the actual Nemesis alien, the monster itself. Is it a monster or an alien? It came from space, so it's an alien, yeah. And so I lost my train of thought. I did use a mixture of pieces before this. I was just basically testing out which pieces were the best to use. In the start, the Arctic rock pieces were the best piece to use. However, I realised that those rock pieces clip through the garden shed, and we can't have that. That's a strict rule, that we can't have it clip through the garden shed, basically because if it clips through, you're going to see it, and we can't have it showing. And so decided to use these temple pieces purely because they're flat on one side but then like a rocky surface on the other, and whilst they're definitely not the best looking pieces, and it doesn't really look like the exact thing, it works. It does work. I feel like these are the best piece to use in the game. I tried looking at ThemeMaker's Toolkit, there's no pieces on the ThemeMaker's Toolkit I can use, so yeah, these are currently the best pieces to use at the moment. If you can think of any better pieces, please comment them, and I'll see, and I'll put them in and see if it works better. If it does work better, great, but if it doesn't, then yeah. And I have to say here, I didn't know which version of Nemesis Station is, because of course there's the old version, which is just the plain white bones with the red, what would you call the red bit? Let's just call it the red bit. And well, there's the newer one where it's like it's been painted over. It looks like more, what's the word? It looks more gruesome. Let's say it looks more rotted, more gruesome, basically. And so I didn't really know which one to use here. Of course, you can't really do the newer version Planet Coaster. Actually, no. You know what? No, I think you can. I think what I'm going to do, after I've done the entire outside, I'm actually going to get those cobweb pieces and put them around to try and mix the colours to make it look like the newer version. Because I was already planning to do that with the track and make the track look rusted. But yeah, I think I might do that for the station as well. And so here I'm actually doing the coaster track that comes out of the legs of the Nemesis monster. I still don't actually know why this happens, because why do they have it like this, where the coaster track comes out of the monster? Because the coaster track is supposed to be the steel sort of chains that enslaved them. They didn't enslave it, they trapped it with the coaster track. So why on earth is it... So why is the legs going into the coaster track? I don't know. I think I might use some vine pieces or chain pieces to make that transformation of the leg to the track more realistic, more gradual, because right there it's just the leg then track, and it doesn't look right that good, does it? So I think I will definitely go back over it and do that again. Now of course I think I'm actually going to end the commentary here. It's just going to be this for the rest of the episode, to be honest, and yeah, watch the rest of the I'm talking too fast. Watch the rest of the episode. I think towards the end I will do the eye. And so yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.